Hi everyone, it's Carl van Roon here at Van Roon Martial Arts. Today I'm going to be talking to you about injuries. We all encounter niggles from time to time. Sometimes it's just a matter of mileage in terms of the amount of martial arts training that you're doing with your body. But what can you do to avoid injuries? We all know those people that always seem to keep getting injured again and again. Sometimes it's even ourselves. We might continually re-sprain an ankle or keep hurting the same shoulder, or just when we feel like we've recovered from that rib injury that we had earlier from a sparring session, we hurt it again. Well, outside of common sense, there's a couple of things that I'd like to share with you from my sports science background that I think are really, really important in terms of preventing injury. And the main one is really understanding the idea of progressive overload. So a lot of times, people have a goal in mind that they want to achieve. They want to be at a certain level, or they want to be able to train at a certain intensity. They want to be able to push themselves at a certain pace. They want to be able to kick higher, they want to be stronger, they want to be faster, and really, they don't give their body enough time to adapt to the stimulus that they apply to it. So it's really a pretty simple thing. We call it progressive overload, and progressive overload is incremental steps on your way to your ultimate aim. So let's say that, just for argument's sake, let's take an example outside of martial arts. Let's just talk about a marathon runner. So a marathon is, if I'm not mistaken, more than 40 kilometers, So I think it's 22 miles. Somebody might like to correct me. Anyhow, you've got to build up to that, don't you? Same with doing bench press for the first time, or squatting. You wouldn't take a beginner and instantly put them on bench pressing 100 kilograms, let's say, if it's their first time. Even if they're new, you'll take them through the technique. But not only that, you'll use something called periodization, where you incrementally make increases towards your final goal. So let's say you want to lift 100 kgs, then you'll start with just the bar. So a standard Olympic bar will weigh 20 kilograms, and then you'll gradually build up. And it's not the actual strength training that's going to give you that ability to supercompensate or adapt to the stimulus and thereby prevent injury. It's actually the rest and the right nutrition and the right sleep and the right recovery between sessions that's going to optimize whether your body has the chance to adapt. So where does injury come into all of this, and how does it apply to martial arts? Well, if we take a really, really simple example, let's say that we're trying to learn how to kick higher. We want to throw head kicks, right? And a lot of people come to me and they say, I want to be able to kick high even when I'm cold. How can I do that? And most of the time, what tends to happen is people push too hard, too soon, and they don't give their body the time to adjust to the stimulus or to the type of training that they want to do. So what you'll kind of see is somebody will, for example, pull a hamstring, and they'll have a little tear, or they'll tweak it, or their body will tense up and fight them every time they try to kick high, because they're not respecting the awareness or the feedback that they get from their body. So your body is amazingly evolved. It has a whole bunch of feedback mechanisms and loops that indicate to you whether you're using progressive overload correctly or you're just using downright overload. And overload is when you're going to get injured in your body's system. So sometimes students come to me and they'll say, hey coach, I've got a new injury, I hurt myself doing this, I don't really know what happened, I don't really know why, my back is really sore, my shoulder's really sore, my knee, etc., etc. And the first thing that I'll say to them is, did you do anything new in your training regime this week? And they'll say to me, oh yeah, I started running, I thought I'd get fit. And I'll be like, okay, how far did you run? Oh, I ran 5Ks, so 5 kilometers. I ran a couple of miles. Okay. And what intensity did you do that at? Oh, I did it at quite a high intensity because I want to be able to push myself. Okay. Did you just do it once this week, or did you do it a couple of times? Oh, no, I did it 3 times this week. Okay, so see, that's already a recipe for disaster. If you want your body to have the chance to adapt to a new training system, so for example, road running for increasing your cardiovascular capacity, you need to give it the chance to adapt to one change at a time. So if you wanted to start running, let's just say, or you wanted to start practicing your high kicking, instead of doing high kicking every single day or road running every single day at a high intensity and doing it for a whole hour, just start with 1 day a week, low intensity, a 10-minute run at a low pace, like a jog, let's say, and see how your body adapts and adjusts to that. And make sure you eat well in between and make sure that you rest well. If you change too many factors or too many variables at once, it's easy to hurt yourself. So by variables, I mean the intensity of the exercise, the duration of the exercise, the volume, the type of training you're doing, and the list goes on. So if you want to prevent more injury from occurring within yourself or the people that you coach, I would brush up on your fundamental understanding of the concept of progressive overload and then what we call in sports science supercompensation. So supercompensation is your body's ability to be at a baseline level, and then when you put a stressful stimulus on it, your body will temporarily be compromised, and then it will come back stronger. It's basically what all training is based upon. And that could be in terms of muscular strength. So that could be if you do plyometric training, for example, and you don't want to injure yourself, you ease into the jumping or the explosive movements by not doing too many repetitions and too many sets and too many days when you first begin. You gradually, incrementally change it. And that is called progressive overload. That gives your body the optimum opportunity to adapt and therefore supercompensate. So like I said, it could be plyometrics or it could be something different. It could be building your muscular endurance, or it could be building your maximal strength. Regardless, you want to do it incrementally to give your body the chance to supercompensate. You might be wondering, what about flexibility? Does the same thing apply? Absolutely. Progressive overload applies to flexibility as well. You need to give your body the time to remodel and familiarize itself with a new range of motion if you don't want your body to tense up and fight against you. A lot of that is on a neural level. So your body needs a chance to get used to the new patterning and the new range of motion and to realize that it has the stability and strength for all the different muscles to stabilize you so you don't hurt yourself. What about bone remodeling? Your bones can strengthen themselves according to a concept called Wolff's Law. I'll say that again, Wolff's Law. So it's somebody's last name, right? It's not like coleslaw. It's Wolff's Law. And your bones remodel, again, according to progressive overload. So if you want your bones in your hands, your elbows, or your shins, or your knees, or your feet, or even if you're not a martial artist and you want to just strengthen the bones in your legs through like jogging, let's say, the compressive forces and ground reaction forces that you get from heel strike and running need to be gradually adapted to if you don't want to get stress fractures. If you don't want to get boxers fractures when you're hitting, then gradually building up in the intensity will help you to strengthen all the small bones through your hands and through your wrists and your forearms. So all that shock literally increases the bone mineral density, and your bones remodel. Just as your muscles become stronger, your bones remodel, your muscles can become more flexible, and your body can adapt to essentially anything. But if you push too hard, too quick, and you get too greedy, then that hubris, that tragic character fault, will come back to bite you in the ass. So, make sure that you take the time to progressively overload your body, treat it with enough respect that it can adapt, and then give it that chance to supercompensate by having good food and great rest between your training sessions. A good general guideline is to give 48 hours between intense training sessions. I'm not talking about just going for a jog or doing some light pad work. I'm talking about really getting stuck in with a hard sparring session, or lifting some weights that you don't usually do, or doing some sprint training, some plyometrics, some intense stretching. Definitely need a 48-hour window. So that's a great way to prevent injury. Focus on that progressive overload and listen to your body's feedback. Thank you very much for tuning into today's video, folks. I hope you really enjoyed it. This is one of the first videos that I'm doing on a new series that are inspired by sports science principles and good coaching principles. If you have a request about something that you'd like me to talk about, or you want me to explore a certain topic, then please send me a message, drop me a comment below, and maybe it can be the inspiration for the next video. Make sure you don't forget to subscribe for more great Van Roon martial arts content. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook too. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Carl van Roon, and I'll catch you soon. Bye.